All right. Looks like tracker is working fine. So it's interesting to think about cooking. It's interesting to think about cooking as it relates to personal growth and self-development. There's different ways we can think about food. We can think of food as something that we just do mindlessly. We eat, and then the only thing we're going to focus on is, does it taste good, does it not taste good? If you take that approach to your health, with nutrition, and that's all you learn, that's the only thing you're going to do. Are you going to survive? Yeah, for some time. Is that necessarily a good recipe for health in the future? Probably not. You don't have to learn about anything you don't want to learn about, unless you have to learn about it. So, a lot of times people start learning about nutrition is when there's a problem that they're having. You get a health issue, and that's when you start learning. You can do that if you want to do that. It's even better to learn about it before you have a problem and not have a problem in the first place. The ability to think about that and make a decision before you have a problem and address that problem before it becomes a problem is a great attribute to develop in your life. If you develop that attribute early in your life, you'll be able to avoid a lot of problems you don't need to have. You can get to where you're going much faster if you don't have to spend time fixing random problems that you don't need to have. Okay, but I don't have time to worry about nutrition. I'm busy, I don't have time. Okay, well, how busy are you and how much do you need to learn and how are you learning? Chances are you don't need to learn that much stuff about nutrition in order to be effective, in order to get the benefit. If you know nothing about nutrition, learning something about nutrition is going to be an improvement. So if you feel like, hey, I'm behind and I can't learn the things I need to learn because I'm already behind, that's a wrong approach to take towards becoming better. You're not behind. You are where you are. If you feel like you should be somewhere else other than where you are, well, it's time to make that change and make the movement so you arrive where you want to arrive. But when you think of like, oh, hey, I'm behind, I'm not where I want to be, it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. You are where you are, make the changes you need to make. Okay. So then, where would you start? Well, it's actually quite interesting because where you start now is not where you start 2 years ago. One of the biggest challenges in learning anything new is not knowing what you don't know. So it's like, if I know that, like, hey, I don't know, like, anything about carbohydrates, and I need to learn more about it, then I can go online, I can search, I can go to Google. If I don't know that I know anything about carbohydrates, I wouldn't know about it in the first place. So then, it's kind of difficult to go and start Googling things. You also become a target for people trying to sell you random shit. Because they're going to be like, oh, hey, this is the solution you need to be in better shape, to be in great shape. You wouldn't know if it's the right solution or not. You don't know what the problem is. People are going to be selling these pills to get you high school skinny, but is this a problem you're having? Lack of pills, not taking something? Or is the problem you're having what you're eating and what you're doing? Maybe your problem has something to do with you're not getting enough rest. Maybe the problem has something to do with the kind of food you're consuming, the way it's, making your body respond to it. Maybe it's some issue with, I don't know, maybe an allergy or something. It might not be the fact that you don't have some freaking pill that you're not taking, But if you don't know anything about what you're trying to solve, and you just come up to random people and you're like, please give me a solution, that's the kind of solution you're going to get. You may be the right solution. You may be able to find the right person that knows enough about nutrition, knows enough about lifestyle changes, blah, 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 to then give you the right solution to the problem. You're probably going to spend a ton of money. You might not even find that person because the problem is happening inside your body. So if you have an issue inside of your body, you can't describe it any better than you can understand it. You might be able to go to the doctor. That problem might be something that they can pick up, utilize whatever tools available to them, or they might not be able to pick up. They might not know what to test. They might know what to test. There's a tremendous amount of variability that comes with any kind of profession, a doctor, anybody else. So, what do? Well, first thing you do is you take accountability for your health. Complete accountability. There is nobody's responsible for you other than you. People may care about you, people may love you, but your responsibilities are yours. So if you're going to try to pass responsibility for your health onto a doctor, well, they're not you. I mean, this is one of the most obvious things that, a person can say. They're not responsible for your health, you are. They may be able to help you. Hopefully, you can find a good doctor that went to school, studied, and is actually intelligent, creative, and can solve your problems. You might not. It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. What happens if you cannot afford a doctor? Maybe you're like, hey, you need to go find some sort of naturopath and they don't take insurance. And you can't, and now you can't figure this out. That's an excuse. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because it doesn't matter. You complaining about the fact that you don't have the money to get help you need is not going to give you that help, nor is it going to help you get the money. Now, you might be like, okay, well, in order for me to get the help I need, then I need to make more money. Okay. You might. That might be viable solution to the problem. What happens if it's not? What do you do? And why might there be a gem hidden here? Well, if you don't have the money to spend on a naturopath that you think you need, maybe if you decide to fix the problem you're having, maybe it'll make you smarter. Maybe it'll force you to adapt. Maybe it'll force you to be like, okay, well, I now understand how it works. And as a result of understanding how that works, you might become better at other things. I don't get it. How can I become better at something else when I'm trying to solve a problem I don't want to have? Well, let's talk about nutrition, for example. Body is a collection of systems that interact with one another. You probably heard about systems thinking. You're like, hey, I heard it's important for an engineer to develop that. Well, one of the things you can do is you can look at the way the body as an engineer and get inspired. Really? Is that going to work? How can I be inspired by something like that? I don't know. Look at AI. It seems like that idea does work. If you want to understand how the brain works, you understand neurosciences, you can translate a lot of that into knowledge about AI. Humans have been inspired by what they see in nature and design many solutions based on what nature is, right? We build dams, we do all kinds of cool stuff. So, what if you were to look at the problems that you have, and instead of looking at them as an issue that is bringing you down, you look at them as an opportunity to become better? Not just solving your problems you don't have it, but get better at solving problems as a whole. and increase your capacity as a human being. That's another way you can look at the problem. Your attitude towards solving problems is important when you're attempting to solve them. It's good to think about that. So, thinking further about nutrition. There are many things that are great about learning about how to be healthy. One of the things you realize, you have some constraints in your life. And everybody's constraints are different constraints. You might not have the time to cook. Maybe you do. Maybe you have somebody cooking for you. Maybe you have... Maybe you cannot eat dairy, gluten, whatever it is. Maybe you have some conscious reasons for not eating meat, and you don't want to do that. That changes the kind of meals you're going to have. It's also interesting because the information available to you might not be suited for you. What does that mean? Well, you have to learn how to take information and extract knowledge from it, and then synthesize that into something that doesn't work for you. If you don't have time to cook, come up with a solution that does not require you to spend a lot of time cooking. Instead of saying, hey, I don't have time to do this, that is not an option. That's not an option. You cannot say, I don't have time to do this, I cannot do this, I have some sort of a problem that is unsolvable and that's why I do it. That's an excuse. Stop making excuses. Stop explaining to yourself, why is it that you cannot get things done? Stop explaining that. Instead of saying, okay, I have a constraint. I don't have time to cook. Well, what can you do? Okay? What can you do? If one of the things you notice is like, hey, I tend to eat a lot of food and I eat it somewhat mindlessly when I'm watching television. What does that mean? It doesn't mean you're a bad person. One of the things that's important to do is to not look at that as some sort of a virtue. It's not a virtue. What that means is when you're watching television at night, you're eating. You've noticed it about yourself. Don't make it as an excuse or pretend it's not happening. So what do you do with that? When you know about that, what do you do? Well, there's a ton of things you could do, for example, right? You could say, okay, well, let me become clever here. What if I eat before I watch television? This is an idea. You're like, how am I supposed to help it? Well, you'll be able to pay attention to what you're eating. What if you start eating the kind of food that makes you full before you watch television? By the time you get to watching the television, you're already full, you're not hungry, and you're not having this problem. But I don't understand. You didn't tell me to stop watching television. You didn't tell me to stop eating. What I've recommended is you make a creative adjustment to your routine. Wait, is that nutrition? It is nutrition. If you start diving into deeper, you'll understand that there's a reward mechanism happening as you watch television. There's novelty that you're experiencing. You have neurochemicals that reward you for certain behavior. Generally, it's a good thing to be in the know. Your body will reward you for it. So if you start getting a reward, you also get rewards when you eat tasty food. You start combining the two, you start creating reward circuitry that you may not want to have. You may not want to reinforce that behavior. Well, I already created it. I want to. Well, you build these neural pathways. Can you destroy them? No. But you can build new ones and look at the existing ones. Over time, it'll be as if they didn't exist, but you have to think about it. You have to consistently solve your problems. If you don't solve them, if you have excuses, you will not succeed. Don't come up with strategies that you will not be able to do. If you don't think you can go on a diet that's going to last 6 months and requires some great achievements from you, because you don't think you can do it, it may not be the best diet for you to go on if you already think it's a bad idea. And this is true when you think about other areas of your life. You would never say like, hey, I'm gonna go take a road trip and I might die along the way because I think it's a shitty road, but I'm driving there anyways because I'm the kind of person that should be able to do it and I judge myself for it. That is not the right way to solve that problem. You're letting your psychology get in the way of solving that. Self-judgment is getting in the way. Does that mean you should not judge yourself? You should definitely evaluate yourself. You should definitely understand how is it that you're performing against your metrics, your own KPIs. What does that mean? Well, it means different things to different people. It's good to figure out what it means to you. So you can start figuring out, what are my KPIs? What does that mean when I'm performing well? And what does it mean when I'm not performing well? Start thinking about those things and you'll have a lot more answers than questions. Or a lot more questions than answers. Either way, it's fine. So then like, okay, what are some of the things I can do to start getting healthier quicker? Okay, well, let's think about like the things that you're currently doing, right? You're already doing them, you're alive. Fine, deal with it, you know? Don't worry about it. The reason you shouldn't worry about it is you're already doing it. You're already alive and it's already fine. So what can you add to your lifestyle to make your lifestyle better quicker? So that's an interesting thing to think about. Okay. How about you focus right now, instead of doing something that's hard to do something that's easy. Focus on the low-hanging fruit. One of the things that tends to be easy for people is saying like, hey, I'm going to start drinking smoothies. Why the fuck would you want to do that? Right? Why would you think like, oh, hey, I'm having a problem, right? Like, I am trying to lose 50 pounds, trying to lose 40 pounds, trying to fucking get in shape, blah, 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 blah. Instead of telling me to not do something, you're telling me to do something. Well, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? So it's like, instead of applying this reductionist thing, where I'm like, remove this. This is what's causing your problem. You have a limited amount of space in your stomach. It's limited. That's why people get surgeries to get their stomach smaller so they stop eating. Also, an approach you can take if you're like somewhat extreme, dangerous, may have best idea you have. What if you're taking an approach where like, I can create a concentration of nutrients that's beneficial for me? Because it doesn't take a long time to create it, it's quick. I can create a smoothie in 10 minutes or less. Virtually no cleanup, you have to clean up one container. You occupy space in the stomach and you start giving your body a lot of nutrients it needs to function well. If you're going to try to be in better shape, rather than focusing on not being fat, which is somewhat limiting, focus on being in great shape and do the things that you would do if you were going to be in great shape. So if you were in great shape, chances are you'd be healthy. If you're healthy, you'll be doing things that healthy people tend to do. One of them is consuming fruits and vegetables, vitamins, all those things. Is this going to solve all your problems? Not likely, but it's a start. When you're looking at something like getting healthier and becoming healthy, being in good shape, blah, blah, fucking blah, It is a journey that might take you a year, 2 years to arrive to where you want to be. Maybe it'll take you 5 years. It doesn't matter because you arrived there. You're going to arrive somewhere 5 years from now. It might as well be where you want to go. You might as well be where you want to go. If you're going to go somewhere, go where you want to go. Don't go where you don't want to go. Don't spend the next 5 years becoming less healthy and arrive to a place that you really don't want to be. Okay. So, is this it? No. That's a process that you're going to go through to build momentum. You need to build momentum. It starts with one thing. And when you embody that thing, when it becomes a part of who you are, add another thing. Don't think about all the things you need to do. This process is agile. What does that even mean? It doesn't mean I need to know what I'm going to do 6 months from now, the day of. I might have a general idea to where I'm going. I'll make adjustments along the way. So instead of saying, I'm trying to not be fat, be athletic. Move towards the direction, I'm becoming more athletic. Start creating goals that you can accomplish if you're athletic. So it's like fitting into clothes is not a goal. There's, the only thing you're going to do is make yourself feel bad about not being able to fit into something else. Make a different goal. Make a goal, I'm going to go for a hike. I'm going to go on a road trip. I'm going to spend a month by myself doing something that's cool that requires me to be in good physical shape. Live outside. Do something other than punish yourself for not being what you want to be. Give yourself rewards. You have reward circuitry. Learn from it. Understand your own neurobiology. If you understand how your reward circuitry works, you're going to start coming up with plans that reward you and encourage yourself. Stop fighting yourself. So in order to do that, you have to take accountability for your knowledge. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should learn about it. How could you? Well, now you know what you don't know. One of the things that happens as a result of you watching this, you've learned about some of the things you don't know. You found the beginning of a thread. From that place, what you can do is actually utilize AI to start educating you about this. By using AI and tell the AI, like, hey, tell me the things that are known to be scientifically valid. You can start eliminating a lot of nonsense that is not validated by anything and people claiming expertise trying to sell you shit. Like, okay, if it's not scientifically validated, does it mean it's not real? No. Some things are hard to validate scientifically. Some experiments are very difficult to conduct. It's difficult to create control groups to where you can actually gain insights and understandings. Nutrition is one of those things. That's why it's difficult to create control groups, because people are vastly different. Some things you can get at there. Learn about those things first. Learn about the things we're certain about. Become better. Learn how to experiment on yourself. See how your body responds to different foods. If you give yourself time to succeed and aim for success, it's okay for you to take 1 month, 2 months to start discovering things that make an impact. You want to make an impact with things you do. If you've been working out and you work out daily and you've been doing it for 6 months, for a year, and ain't shit happening for you, that's because what you're doing is not working. Acknowledge that and change your approach. Come up with a different strategy. If you don't know how, start figuring out how. What could you not know? Ask AI this. Ask AI, what might I not know about nutrition that might help me with something like this? Ask that and see what happens. Ask that and see what happens. Start using AI to help you learn about things. Start using the AI, start helping you go faster. Do things to help you become better. Take accountability for your life. Take accountability for the kind of life you live in. And take accountability for you liking it or not liking it. You don't like something, it's okay. Just change it. Don't blame anybody for this. Don't blame anyone for the fact that you don't like something. Don't blame your parents. Don't blame your friends, your relatives, the economy, the alignment of stars. It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. It's not going to help you solve any of your problems, so don't worry about it. Worry about things that you can't change. Worry about things that do matter, and do that. That's it. And good luck.